Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast superbly blended for that extra mild caramel flavor. We're back with more anime than ever. We've been doing anime like crazy. Now that I'm alone again in my alone era, I'm back to reading and watching anime.
I didn't want to leave you there alone, but you can't be trusted outside by yourself. I have to do this for your safety. We have to keep you in here safe, away from the fans.
I'm the only person who's ever been put on the no-fly list because of desperation.
Well, the airlines can smell it. It's not a good look.
Yeah. Man, this dude's sweating, and he hasn't even gotten on the plane yet.
Hey, he looks like he wants to get out of here a little too much.
This is why I don't go to cons, people. It's that. It's no other reason. It's that one. That's the reason.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that, not the restraining order.
It's definitely that. Well, you flew. Did you do any anime on the plane? I didn't even ask you yet.
I did some anime on the plane, and we'll get into that in a bit. Trust me. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I did anime all over the place. But first, I thought that it might be prudent to do a little check-in, a little checkup, see where we're at on this season's anime with currently running series. Are you keeping up with anything?
Damn, the mid-season checkup.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess we're past mid-season, right?
A little bit past, but that's our style, fashionably late.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I fell behind because of
various personal reasons.
Yeah, the inconsiderate nature of my watch partners has really put a damper on me keeping up. I am now basically at least 2 or 3 episodes behind everybody on every single show we've watched. I've only close on Dungeon Meshi. Just from enthusiasm alone, we've managed to at least keep that one sort of up. And it's got me thinking, like, they've moved the story so fast. I've been trying to picture what a season 2 of Dungeon Meshi is going to look like, and I'm having trouble putting it together.
I was also thinking the exact same thing. I would say that it's a good estimate that we're going to end this season on the the transformation mushroom bit. Where they step on the mushrooms and they all get their fantasy races swapped with each other.
That's right. Look forward to that, listeners.
Yeah. I figured fans of this show don't give a shit about spoilers anyway. We've already gone too deep with other stuff at this point.
Yeah, we ruin everything we touch and watch and see, so...
Yeah,
so I'm sorry
like
about
a blight,
that, but yes.
Like a growing fungus that you can't get rid of with bleach.
Look, if you didn't see transformation mushrooms coming, and you've been paying attention to Dungeon Meshi, then that's on you.
Yeah, really.
Come on.
But that's where I think we're probably gonna end this season. And as far as a season 2, I agree. It's hard to picture that narratively, like pacing wise, because I think that's just because the second half of the Dungeon Meshi manga is kind of all over the place, if you think about it.
It's a little all over the place. Well, I was just thinking, like, man, the most of the back half of that story is the climax. Like, the climax goes on for an absurdly long time, which I think would be funny. Time. A really funny way to do, like, a week-to-week episode of just non-stop final act stuff. I don't know. It'd be fun. It's not like I don't trust them. I put my full confidence in obviously the king of all animation studios, Trigger.
Are we giving out that crown right now? Not that I disagree. I'm with you there, but I don't want to rise any emotions in people. I don't want to start some kind of debate war about which studio's the best, even though it's Trigger, obviously.
I mean that more in like the Dark Souls way, where like all the studios are various levels of decrepit dragon or aging insane mad kings, pieces falling off them as they look around with their blind eyes trying to find you, the anime viewer, who's deftly rolling past them.
The burned out husk of Miyazaki swinging a big sword covered in ash.
Yeah, yes. He really would be the Gwyn, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's trying to end this world of anime.
He's got no eyes, just empty sockets with cigarette smoke coming out of them.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh my God. That's what Erdtree is about, I've decided.
Oh man, that's coming out. I'm looking forward to that.
That's a little ways off.
A couple weeks, not that far.
I guess so. A couple
I'm
weeks.
seeing all the pre-release review stuff starting to go up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're drawn in.
I guess I should finish up all the fucking games I was pretending to play for a while and just left dormant.
Isn't spring cleaning your Steam library the best time of year?
What does that entail? You mean just like straight up deleting shit off your hard drive? Just like being real with yourself for a second? Like, I'm never playing this again.
I've had to do that quite often over the years. I would say that's exactly what it is. It's like, you keep meaning to go back. You have mods invested, set up. You had like a whole thing that you were doing in, whatever. That was Witcher 3 for me.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do in these big like open world kind of Bethesda type games is search for all the artifacts, the special weapons or named armor or whatever.
Oh, so you're the one.
Yeah, I'm the one.
You're a pervert.
I just like doing the stuff. I like going on little scavenger hunts.
You're a collector pervert. Awful.
I'm a little muskrat packing away shells by the river.
Oh, I hate that.
And so I was like going around trying to find all of the different upgrades for the various Witcher school armors that you can collect, right?
Sure.
Or finding all the named guns in Fallout.
Yeah.
That's what I like doing.
So yeah, see, that's not my problem. My problem really is like I will just play a game until like the last level and then just be like, nah, I'm out. Maybe I'll come back and finish this up.
Yeah.
I mean, a conservative estimate of my Steam library is like, 7, 8, maybe 8 games still installed that I'm like on the last level or level equivalent of,
Yeah.
Just sitting, waiting there.
Mm-hmm. But you get to a point where it's like whatever you were doing or wherever you drop off, you start other stuff, you get invested in other games, other non-game stuff, hopefully, do stuff other than watch anime and play video games, people. I beg you. But
like what?
I don't know.
What would that be?
Go outside and eat an apple. I don't know. That's good. That's got fiber. You probably need fiber, dear listener. If I know my audience, you probably need a lot more fiber in your diet.
They give you more fiber if you eat them outside?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Is this one of those life hacks I've heard so much about?
But you get to a point and you stop playing it, but it's still there, and because we all have gamer brain hoarder mentalities, it feels bad to delete stuff, right?
Well, for me too, I have so many roguelikes installed at once, and there is no natural stopping point. That's like that's the whole reason I play them.
Your desktop is a crime against God.
It's not great. I mean, I'm not going to make any excuses for my poor habits, my poor gaming hygiene. But I'll probably play Erdtree for. I could squeeze like a couple months out of Erdtree.
Yeah,
I think I could make that last.
No,
I can stretch that one out.
I'm gonna sink my teeth into it. I'm gonna pack it into a big bowl and take a big rip off of it, if you know what I mean.
So does that mean you're going to stop watching your shows? Are you going to completely fall behind on your shows?
No, I have a routine, okay? I have a very extensively and meticulously set up schedule. Every nanosecond of my day is planned down to the T. And so I always make time for anime.
This is the lower middle class American experience is creating little regimens for your media consumption habits.
Yeah. I have it all laid out into a Google Calendar.
Yeah. Well, did you do better than me? I know you watched a couple other shows, right?
Yeah. So I didn't keep up with what was it? Astro House.
Astronaut.
Yeah, Astronaut. Excuse me. Astra House is the name of the boarding house where the characters live.
Oh, it's also a new electronica genre I've been working with.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
Hell yeah.
Sounds European.
Derogatory.
But I kind of fell off with that. The gag of it just being a Urusei Yatsura boner comedy, but with new animation kind of fell off. Not gonna lie.
Didn't I tell you? I told you.
He told me it was gonna happen. I never listen. It's kind of one of my defining traits is I do not listen.
Yeah, that's your special skill.
Yeah. Oh, that's my quirk. Does not listen to good advice.
Well, what did you watch? If you didn't watch that, what did you watch?
I've been keeping up with Bartender, The Glass of God. That's actually been quite a fun one, surprisingly.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's
this lush.
I know. Well, I do have a drinking problem. It's well known. It started from all those years of Catholic school, giving us wine during lunch.
Yeah, like rosé in little ecto cooler boxes.
No, you can't have the blood of Christ, but a little bit of rosé, that's fine for an 8-year-old.
Yeah, it's fine.
So that one's been fun. I thought that it was just going to be like a bog standard service industry kind of like variety story show, right? We've talked about how that's kind of like a genre in Japanese television where it's about a cafe or a diner or a bar or a restaurant, and each episode is just a little vignette about a customer that comes in and tells their sad or funny or weird story to the staff there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be like that. And
sad sack motherfuckers.
Yeah. And it does do that for the first 5 or so episodes, and then it is now starting to break out. And we have actually broken into the world of cocktail competitions now. And so that is very exciting.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying there's a tournament arc?
Yes. Yeah, we're just now starting a tournament arc. Okay, so the first several episodes, we do that classic format, but then we start doing it with other bartenders, not just our main dude, who, by the way, I do want to reiterate, is the best bartender in Japan. He is the Glass of God. That is his title. And the overarching plot is still about this wealthy hotel tycoon trying to recruit him to be the head bartender at his fancy new bar.
Right. Which still reminds me that I haven't watched the new Roadhouse yet. Gotta get around to that.
Gotta get around to that. Gyllenhaal's counting on you.
I know, he's my boy.
He's your boy. Come on.
He's my boy.
You can't let down your boy.
I'm the only person in the world who liked source code.
So we kind of get these looks at how other bartenders that he's interacted with do their bartending. We get bartending power levels. Obviously.
Wait, hold on. Are there bad guy bartenders who flick lemon juice into my man's eye so that he fucks up his drink?
No, not so much an evil bartender yet.
Okay.
What we have been introduced to is bartenders who don't have a passion for the job they're doing.
What?
Which is kind of like the show's language for being evil. So kind of.
You're not passionate about the service industry. Wow.
Yeah.
I've had this boss. Yes.
So one bartender that he interacts with, which is the white guy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is
don't
his
worry,
name
he's
Jack Charles?
No. Don't worry, he's not actually white.
Oh.
He's just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy with light skin from Singapore.
Okay, all right. I suppose that can happen.
I think his name is David Chen. He is the bartender who's way too focused on perfecting his technique because his motivations are impure. He wants to impress his wealthy hotel tycoon father, who doesn't respect him for wanting to be a fancy bartender. And so he's obsessed with technique, and he doesn't have a real connection with his customers. And so that's why he needs to be taken down a peg.
Jesus Christ.
That's the kind of thing that we're dealing with.
I find that very disturbing.
And so we kind of set up that there's that guy. There's kind of like the punk rock chick who works at the rock and roll bar, and she's very laid back, but her technique needs work. And then there's the up and coming.
Because she only serves Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, she only serves Irish car bombs and like sake bombs. They don't call them that there. That's offensive.
They just call them bombs.
Yeah, yeah. Don't call them H bombs. No, don't call them that.
Royale with cheese.
Yeah. Bartender, get me a Royale with cheese. Skip the garnish.
So this is honestly, this sounds like it's becoming one of those training videos I had to watch when I did like food service at like fast food places where they're like, we're a family. Also, if you slack off, you're a bad person and you're stealing money from us.
No, I mean in the meta text, sure. It absolutely has a kind of pro service industry slave kind of narrative to it.
Yeah.
But in just the plain text of the show, it kind of presents bartenders as these. Okay, all right. To use a Jujutsu Kaisen reference, think of a bartender and their bar as a Jujutsu sorcerer and their inner domain, right?
Right. Yes.
Each bar is kind of a reflection of each bartender's personality and how they present themselves to the customer, right?
Right. What kind of flair they have and make the waiters wear.
Exactly. And so we have
which street signs they put up on the wall.
Or if they have no street signs, maybe it's a super classy bar. So the main guy, the Glass of God, he's not really like the POV character. That's these two chicks that work for the hotel hospitality department that are trying to recruit him. There are Nicks,
Sort of Trigun style,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the Million Merrill to his Vash the Stampede.
Yeah.
They're the ones that set up this kind of tournament arc where they kind of they set him up as a judge for this famous cocktail competition that happens by the Suntory Whiskey Company every year. And all of the
name dropping Suntory pretty hard.
Well, I think I mentioned in my initial review of the series, they have paid for these licenses, or at least worked out some kind of deal, because there's no demis, there's no Whack Arnolds about it. They are full on like scanned labels put into the anime.
Well, hold on, because this is kind of just an extended commercial for
absolutely
Suntory, right?
Not just Suntory, a bunch of alcohol brands.
Yeah.
All the big ones.
We
got front face label of Bombay Sapphire on there.
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's put on by the International Alcohol Mafia as propaganda. And so he's been set up now as this judge for this cocktail competition that all of these other bartenders that we've interacted with are the contestants in.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's where we're at in the series right now. But I wanted to give it a shout out for its absolute commitment to melodrama. It is now playing this 100% like a sports manga.
Okay.
So the up and comer for the cocktail contest is this lady bartender that we ran into earlier in the series. She's just now like getting into the world of bartending. She used to be a
rookie.
Yeah, she's a rookie bartender. She used to be a lush.
Okay.
I kid you not. She used to be a lush, like office lady who would get drunk every day after work until a bartender convinced her to quit her job and to quit drinking to become a bartender.
Hey, lady, I could tell you have a thing for alcohol. You should quit your job. Boy, do I have something in store for you.
So she's the baby face in this competition. And we do an entire episode about how she's trying to perfect her shaking technique, her cocktail shaker technique. which provides some very funny little segments of her doing these elaborate shaking motions while her head is remains perfectly unanimated,
right,
staring blankly down camera.
Okay, that's better because, for a second, I hate to be crass, but for a second I imagined what an anime could do with a woman shaking a drink.
Get your mind
I don't,
out of the gutter,
look,
sir.
I'm just saying it was, you can't blame me,
I
right?
can't believe you would even go there.
Look, yeah.
This is a family show.
Alcohol is a subgenre of food anime, so you can't blame me for thinking they would try to get in there.
Metalocalypse already said booze ain't food.
Booze ain't food?
No, booze ain't food.
Booze is food. No, I have to put my food down.
Well, yeah, if it has calories, I guess it is food.
Yeah, come on. Doesn't he put like an olive in his martinis? Come on, that's food.
They do some fancy garnishing with flowers and elaborately cut lime and orange wedges. So you got that going for you.
Are you telling me you're not supposed to eat that stuff?
Well, I mean, only if you don't want scurvy.
Well, I guess I rest my case then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're way invested. You're like really into this.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what I was getting at is she's trying to perfect her technique, and they do a whole injury arc about how she sprains her wrist and can't shake right before the competition.
Oh no!
Yeah. She gets carpal tunnel from making too many drinks. It's very funny.
Wow. You got to watch out for that.
All right. So that's Bartender Glass of God. Move on from that. But I want to give a shout out to the commitment to melodrama, which I find very endearing.
I love the ability to just cram a tournament arc into anything, just anything at all.
It's a real skill. I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah. Anime about working a terrible marketing job. You're going to get a tournament arc in there.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a good premise.
Oh, definitely.
Who can sell the most little doodads?
Yeah. A show about why bullying is wrong. You're going to have a school counselor tournament arc where they have to counsel a bunch of bullies, succeedingly worse bullies into reintegrating into society.
See, I would figure they would take a sidestep from that and have the counselor like, all right, we're going to do a baseball tournament to settle our differences.
Well,
that seems like the kind of the tournament arc that they would do.
That's funny because that is what happened in now. I was going to bring this up earlier because I did fall off most of my shows because of said personal commitments. But I did make up for it by watching a new show.
Oh,
that's right.
A new show.
I picked something up.
Sorry, I've got to check with the producer. Is it all right if he talks about a new show? All right. I don't have anything planned.
I mean, I hope so.
No, all right. They say, yeah, go ahead. Talk about it. Talk about a new show, I guess.
It's never too late in the season to just start watching one of the new premieres, right?
Yeah, I guess. This is totally unprecedented. This is new territory for us. An anime podcast has never talked about a new show mid-season.
Okay, well, right off the bat, maybe it's being a little bit misleading. This show has been going on for many decades at this point.
He's already backstacking. Okay, what'd you watch?
Are you familiar with Black Butler?
I've heard the name. I just assumed that it was something not for me.
No, it definitely isn't.
Is it Downton Abbey but with stands?
I mean, kind of. It's more like...
Oh, I didn't expect to be that close to the mark with that comment.
You're not super far off, but it's more like Jeeves and Wooster if it was Death Note.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. If it was Death Note, Jeeves and Wooster. That's kind of where we're sitting at.
And you decided to jump into this now. Why?
Well, Black Butler is sort of interesting in sort of the corpus, the anime corpus. It has kind of a long history at this point, and here, I'll show you something interesting. It's been going on for a while, but sort of intermittently. It's not one of these like One Pieces, right? That has been just like going on forever.
Sure.
It comes and then it goes for a long time, and then it comes back and it goes for a long time. That's sort of how it's had its weird life cycle. So like the first season of Black Butler came out in 2008.
Okay, that was a while ago.
Yeah. Then season 2 is 2010. Season 3 is 2014. And then the longest break, season 4, 2024, baby. Nice little 10-year break.
You see, that's its problem, is that it came out majority during years when I was like vehemently not watching anime, when I was trying to distance myself from anime.
Well, I'm not sure you would have been into it anyway. This is it's I can't even call it an acquired flavor. I think it might just be kind of bad. But
this looks like this is an anime for people who are no longer welcome in a Hot Topic because they hang out without buying anything.
I just want to draw your attention to the wildly different art styles it acquired throughout the years and how emblematic they are of their time periods. I find that to be really fascinating. 2008 basically looks almost like a Flash parody of an anime, and then 2024 is like this like super extra modern anime where they're using like rotoscoped live action animation and stuff on top of this like very put together modern anime style.
You know what these character designs remind me of?
Oh no, what?
That Disney gotcha game where you have to date the sexy villains.
Yes. Well, it is. I believe it is Square Enix. So.
Oh well, that makes sense.
They're on top of that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. This current season is being done by Cloverworks, which obviously have their own particular style. We're all familiar with Spy Family season 2, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So we've been on their shit for a little while. I can't remember what else they did. They did Wonder Egg Priority, which is one of my biggest surprises of anime in like a long time. Though I hear some people really hate it. I don't know. But Black Butler, Jeeves and Wooster Death Note.
And
this is what?
Well, I was gonna ask what's the deal with, because you watch specifically the public school arc?
Yes, season 4 is called Public School Arc.
Okay.
Much like other long-running anime, they kind of divvy these up. And since Black Butler doesn't really have like a strong central narrative to it, they concoct essentially mysteries, sort of elongated mysteries for our main boy to investigate. He's sort of a detective, kinda. He's a stooge for the Queen Elizabeth.
Is there any other?
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know my Englishman. Is there any other?
Any other queens?
Yeah, I don't know. We've had 2 Elizabeths. That seems like enough for me.
I'm not a huge British monarchy guy. I think we've made our position clear on the UK many times. But, this is anime. They could just make shit up. They do that all the time.
What if it's Queen Elizabeth III?
It could be. I mean, who knows? Like, in this world, Queen Elizabeth could be anything. Maybe she's a supernatural entity. We don't know.
Sure.
What we do know is that the Black Butler, the titular Black Butler, isn't a supernatural entity. He is actually a demon, sworn to protect... Now get this. Our main character's name is CL Phantom Hive.
Come on.
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
No. Do they really expect us to buy this shit with a straight face?
Hey, 2008,
CL
remember?
Phantom Hide?
CL Phantom Hive.
Phantom Hive, that's even dumber.
As in bees. It's not great. I can't say it's great. I personally would not go to bat for that name.
Really want to go and make a list of the stupidest names. We've talked about so many. I'm trying to remember what the dumbass name from Berserk of Gluttony was. It was something equally bad, but yeah. Okay, so...
Well, what do you think of this? His demon butler is named Sebastian Michaelis.
I guess that's better. That sounds like it could be a real person's name. theoretically.
It does sound more like an actual name.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's no Jeeves, but...
It's no Jeeves. I mean,
no Jeeves.
Jeeves is just, that was a stroke of genius, you know? That's just good marketing with that name.
That's just good shit.
Yeah.
P.G. Wodehouse himself had sort of an odd name.
See,
so
P.G. Wodehouse sounds like a made-up anime name.
it kind of does, yeah.
Yeah.
So in public school arc, so the setup here, you know, our man's CL Phantom Hive, as you could probably
Fucking
guess from the name.
Darkness, Dementia, Raven Way ass name.
Yes, it is. He is, of course, from the royal Phantom Hive family, some kind of lesser offshoot of the crown. And in tradition, his whole family is butchered by some kind of mysterious organization or organizations, leaving only the youngest alive with a cool eye patch.
I mean, that's good. I do like it when royals get butchered.
Yeah, it's good. It's good and cool. Now, because of his extremely strong grudge against his unknown assailants, he summons a demon that swears allegiance to him in order to track down, I don't know, his parents' killers or whatever. Except they don't really do that.
Anime makes that look way easier than it actually is.
Which part?
Summoning a demon
or
that's going to be
tracking
like
down the killers.
You know, it's going to be loyal to you and not fuck you over.
He seems pretty loyal. I have to say, I'm not super familiar with the ins and outs of Black Butler.
Well, that was my favorite part about Death Note's relationship between Light and what's the Shinigami's name? I liked that the Shinigami, his motivation was like, yeah, I just think it's funny to watch all this stuff happen.
Ryuk.
I just thought it was like a funny thing to do.
His name's Ryuk. How could I forget that?
Right, of course.
Yes. That particular relationship is absolutely fantastic. And one of the many reasons Death Note is great. Now, Sebastian is no Ryuk. He's pretty much just a kiss-ass butler type.
See? I cannot abide a yes man.
I mean, you know, he plays a little coy with it. He's like, remember, I'm a demon, though. But it's not a particularly interesting relationship. Little CL, the eye patch wearing lone survivor of the Phantom Hive incident, gets assignments from the mysterious queen to do all kinds of ridiculous stuff. There's 4 seasons of this. There's also movies, so, you know, he's going on all kinds of cases.
Oh, you got it.
In public school arc, he takes on the incredible challenge of enrolling in a British public school, one of the darkest and most disturbing institutions in all of the UK. I don't know how much you know about British public schools, especially around the 30s and 40s, but...
Listen, I've seen The Wall. I know enough.
Yeah, yes. This kid is getting walled.
He's getting rammed right up against the wall.
Yes. Now, it's hard to say without, reading and watching a bunch of Black Butler, but I found myself immediately disappointed that this British public school is essentially just a Japanese high school with a palette swap.
Well,
they don't really do much.
Aren't Japanese high schools kind of like based off of the British private school model?
You're gonna have to get back to me on that one. I really don't know. I don't want to make spurious claims. This isn't the podcast where we make spurious claims about history or Japan or anything.
Listen, we're not journalists. Let's be upfront. I mean, I am because I have a degree, but I'm not a working journalist. You know what? You can trust me. Is what I'm saying. You can trust me, folks. I got your back.
It's an interesting supposition. I'll give you that.
I don't know. I'll get back to you. I'll do some research. And I'll get back to you on that.
You do a little bit of research on that. Now, what I find disturbing though is knowing some of the British boarding school stuff.
I'm gonna play that clip back to you where you say you don't do research.
You would never catch me doing research ever.
Okay,
what disturbs me about public school arc and being mostly a palette swap. I really wish they had done a little bit more work to make it Britishy, I guess. Though, now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm not sure I would have. I think I would have liked it just as little. But there is a disturbing thing where you kind of superimpose these two things together, because this has sort of that kind of
Go on.
How do I say this without being incredibly offensive? A bit of a like young boy by shonen thing going on.
Oh, no, yeah, it's a show for pedos is what you're saying.
I don't want to go that far, but the emphasis on pretty little boys is a little disturbing, and it is made more disturbing when it is put into the British public, boarding school context.
I think they know exactly what they were doing.
I hope not.
That
I really hope not.
That reminds me of another show that came out this season that I stayed far away from. But it was called something like That Time I Was Reincarnated as, the seventh son of an aristocrat or something like that. And the cover is just this, like, I don't know how to explain it other than overly detailed, like a cute little boy with the shortest short shorts on in a pose that makes me intensely uncomfortable about the implications of the series. And okay, I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna show it to you, and you'll know exactly.
I don't
what
know
I'm
if I need
about.
to see that. I don't know if we have to. I don't know if it's imperative that you show me that. But the point being,
what I'm saying is that it seems to be an established subgenre, right?
Yes,
and I don't like it.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. It's a little strange. The pretty boy thing, it's just in this particular context, with everything we know about boarding schools in Britain, the incredibly dark shit that was going on in those boarding schools, having a bunch of lighthearted pretty boys, like, sort of brush up against, like, weird hazing stuff, and at various points in the story, the demon butler poses as a teacher and does stuff with some of the students.
What kind of? I don't want to know what kind of stuff.
I'm not saying anything explicit happens, but there is like weird sexual tension he has with young boys that is just. This is the absolute wrong story to put that shit in. It's deeply, deeply uncomfortable.
Okay, weird.
Yeah,
I don't like
when
that.
when we're just playing around and it's doing the Jeeves and Wooster Death Note thing, it's like whatever. But taking these characters and this scenario and putting it in the boarding school situation is just. It's wrong. I don't want to say it's wrong, but it's wrong. It's bad and wrong. This is bad. This is really bad and wrong. I don't like it. Also, what sparked me there was that about 7 episodes, like 6-7 episodes into this season, they do a tournament arc because, they have Harry Potter houses, obviously.
Of course, obviously.
And the houses have to play cricket against each other because, UK.
Mm-hmm. That's just what they do there.
Upper class twits playing cricket.
Yeah, it's their national baseball.
I guess so. Maybe in the 40s, I guess you could say that. So there's a kid, he carries a cricket bat around as if it's like a katana, that kind of
Dope.
thing.
Cool and not weird thing to do.
Yeah, totally cool and not weird. Definitely a thing that British kids would do. And he does not, I will say, he does not use it to paddle anyone, which is what the British kids actually did with those things, but still weird. This is deeply weird. I really cannot stress enough how deeply weird this is. And, the whole point is that our little man CL is like doing his little scheming thing because he's trying to find a missing person whose last location was the boarding school.
Sure, he's doing the little boy detective thing.
He's doing little boy detective. He's manipulating the people around him.
With his demon magic, I assume?
Yeah, with his demon magic.
Okay.
And his wits, He's a clever child, a clever boy.
avoiding the unwanted attention of teachers.
But not the unwanted attention of the other boys, which again brings me back to like the deeply bizarre pseudo-sexual tension that continually builds throughout this show. It's really bad, man.
Okay, all right. Can I?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this one might be heinous. I think this might actually be heinous.
Yeah, it sounds bad. It's funny that you bring it up, though. Can I tell you a totally wholesome story about a student-teacher relationship?
Oh, please. Yes, you're trying to get me off this topic as fast as possible. No, let me take that escape rope. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about your thing?
See, I'll shift focus away from your embarrassing thing over to my even more embarrassing thing.
Thank God. Oh, okay. What's your embarrassing thing?
So I read a little manga called Gohan or Gyaru Gohan.
Why do you keep doing this, man? What is
you know what,
dude?
I wanted to ask you because I think what I'm trying to do with all of these Gal comics is these Gyaru comics is I'm trying to find out what is even a Gyaru. Do you know? After reading so many, I'm not even sure I know anymore.
Well, this has been an ongoing conversation for a long time. In that, and I've started with. Okay, this is a particular subculture, right? Mm-hmm. It has its own, cultural markers. The tan, the sort of, raccoon eye, the very tall hair, the overabundance of like dangly keychains, very long nails that are generally bedazzled, short skirts.
Okay, but one thing that all of these comics, all of these manga make very clear is that is the classic image.
Yes.
None of those things are necessary to actually be a Gyaru.
Right. Now, this might be just a kind of a standard cultural evolution, like how, goth slowly turned into emo over the years.
Sure.
And then turned into alt. And then turned into mall goth again. And then now emo's coming back.
It's all cyclical.
Yeah, I assumed it was something like that, maybe.
That could be part of it. The tan skin, the blonde hair, big eyelashes. That seems to be the core of the aesthetic. But all of these comics feature like the main one, who may or may not fit. Usually the object of the main character's affection.
Yes.
The format is outgoing, quirky girl has a crush on awkward, quiet boy. Like that's the dynamic.
Well, I will say this before we go any further, just on that topic, just what is a Gyaru?
Yeah.
I will say I don't know about this one, and I have read some other ones where this isn't true, but for the vast majority that I have seen, we are experiencing these through a normie guy perspective.
Sure.
So what we are experiencing as the Gyaru is being mediated by some asshole who genuinely thinks the core concept of being a Gyaru is like being a slut, basically. That's unfortunately what they talk about a lot.
That's a core DNA to all of these series is the general or the eventual realization by characters that, being a Gyaru doesn't mean being a dumb slut.
Well, but then why do they say it in every one of these fucking manga? That's what I'm afraid of, is that when people use Gyaru in this context, I'm really afraid of that it's starting to seem to me that they just mean, like, slut. They just mean, like,
some
easy
characters
chick.
do use it like a slur, though, and that's the thing. Okay, so specifically
sucks.
In this one, all of the normie students are constantly referring to the the female lead as the biggest Gyaru in school.
Oh God!
And a recurring joke. I'm using heavy air quotes here. Is like people finding out that she's actually not a dumb slut. And actually is hasn't even ever had a boyfriend.
Oh my God. I hate this.
It's bad, but I'm fascinated by it.
I can't stop thinking about it.
And so back to Gyaru Gohan, which roughly translates to Gyaru cooking or gal cooking. Although I posit that a better title, if we're gonna localize it, would have been gal fried rice. It both ties into the cooking theme of the series and goes back to that classic dad joke about shrimp fried rice. Are you telling me a shrimp fried these rice? You get what I'm saying.
He fried these rice.
Yeah. Anyway, we talked about this briefly last episode as a possible punishment consequence for our little game.
Thank God I didn't get this one. Oh, thank God.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get this one. It reserved all of the flavor for me.
Jesus Christ.
This is the one that was tagged as both high school rom-com and age gap romance.
Yeah, the combination that essentially sets off the fight or flight response.
And so it is almost exactly what you think it's going to be about. It is the story of a high school home ec teacher who sets up a cooking club, and the 15-year-old girl who desperately wants to date him.
Jesus. They can't even make her 18. They can't even go that far.
That's the thing. So I have a theory about that because they do not mention either wisely, I might say. They do not mention ages at all for the first, I would say, half of the series, maybe even 3/4. And
God.
My original assumption was that this was supposed to end much sooner than it did. It does have an ending.
Yeah.
It ended around like 65 chapters.
Jesus.
But I think that it was probably supposed to be like just a 2 or 3 chapter one shot, and then it picked up steam, and the author had to backfill years of high school what I'm saying is the characters were meant to be closer to 18,
right,
and whatever, and then he had to backfill time for the series. I'm like, I guess she's been in high school for 3 years, and she was 15 at the start of the series.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wait, and do we have an age on the creep?
Never. They never say his age.
Never say it. You know what?
Okay, so let me say this real quick.
All right, go ahead.
I would, by context, throughout most of the series, I was led to believe he was probably a fairly new teacher, fresh out of high school, or fresh out of college, and this was like his first teaching job.
Right.
But by context clues at the end of it, I think that he was closer to like his early 30s at the start of the series.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh man.
And
well, can I tell you what that just in general, because this happens way too often, but there are 2 things very specifically that I think about.
Mm-hmm.
As an old head, do you know the Kendaichi files? Are you familiar with this?
I've heard the name, but refresh me.
It's very old, not very old. Well, yeah, very old now. Detective series about the teenager Kendaichi, who is the grandson of a famous detective, and so because everything is blood lineage shit in Japan, he is also a genius detective, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he goes around and he solves mysteries, occasionally very horrible ones. But the first story is about a teacher and one of his students trying to like run away together, and the girl student dies. She's the subject of the case, and of course it turns out that the teacher killed her because he didn't want to get involved in some kind of like protracted scandal with the parents and all that.
Sure.
And the other one is Tomie. The first story of Tomie being that she's sleeping with the gym teacher, and he kills her and makes the students chop her body up.
Well, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing, though. He doesn't date her.
Yeah, but
The gag of the series is that he is
Okay, all right.
hyper aware of the situation. Okay. He knows exactly what it looks like, and so the usual, a gag of each chapter, the killing Kenny, if you will, is her aggressively trying to throw herself at him in increasingly sexual ways. And him being like, oh, haha, you're so funny, but you shouldn't do that because it looks bad on me as a teacher.
You're going to get me fired.
You're going to get me fired, yeah.
And potentially put on a list.
Well, okay, but here's where it gets wild. So that's...
Okay.
You think that's where it stops. It's like, okay, that's the gag. He gets it. He's trying to fend off her advances, and she has a crush on her teacher.
Yeah.
But then every other adult that comes in contact with them that he's afraid of, like, that he would look like a creep to, when they see like the weird situations they get into, they enthusiastically give their consent for the relationship. He is literally the only one in the series saying not to fuck this high schooler.
Is that consent meme? I do. I don't.
Yeah.
I do.
It's like, he's worried about the principal of the school seeing them in an awkward situation and firing him. And what do you know? That happens. And each time the principal is like, yep, go get her, slugger.
So the opposite of in GTO, where the president literally tries to murder him.
Yeah, no. This one, the school president, is that what they call him?
The school prime minister.
Yeah. He's like, no, get in there. Just keep it away from the papers, all right?
Jesus Christ, man.
Even her own parents.
This is really bad, man. I have to say, there was a third one. There was a third one that comes to mind. And this is a little bit different because it's not so gruesome. But the author of Suicide Girl has another long-running comic. I think his most popular one, unfortunately, about a young man who is fresh out of college, going to teach at a school, and he comes to learn that his childhood friend is one of the students he's teaching, and she's like I guess a senior. So they are trying to like split the difference there, and her whole thing is that she's basically assumes that he's going to marry her. And it turns into like a battle shonen very quickly after that. But each girl in his class, like one by one, also falls in love with him, which is, it's I don't like it. I don't like it very much.
Yeah, no, it's a bit George Lucas, a bit Steven Spielbergian, if you know what I mean. If you know anything about Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the 15-year-old would totally be into her 26-year-old home ec teacher.
They really fought hard for that indie scene where the girl blinks her eyes with "I love you" written on them, right?
Yeah, totally. Except it's written across her boobs, and she just takes off her shirt in the middle of class.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God.
I gotta give it one compliment. It had
you
one.
Do?
I do. I do.
You have to?
I have to. I have to acknowledge the one really funny joke that made me laugh in the whole series.
We're fair and balanced here.
Yeah, got to keep it balanced as per the FCC regulations. They do this very funny joke of whenever they show her parents, which, by the way, of course, her mother is also a gyaru, because, as we said, Japan is really big on genetic determinism for some reason.
Gyaru mom.
Yeah.
Huh.
But they draw her dad in a super hyper realistic fashion compared to the rest of the series style. And he looks like a 1980s Yakuza like comic.
Jesus Christ.
With the mustache and the aviators and the slick back hair and everything.
Okay.
That got me. That was just a gag that got me. I thought that was very funny.
You like that?
I like it when artists incorporate disparate styles to make a joke.
Sure. And the joke being he shows up and the teacher assumes he's about to get killed.
Yeah, but he's actually a florist and very, very nice. and also says, please fuck my daughter who's in high school.
So fucking wild, man. That's so wild. And there are so many people who would come out and be like, well, it's young women in school have it's a pretty common fantasy of, the crush on the older man. Mm-hmm. And, manga it's comics are just this safe space to, explore these kinds of fantasies. And I would rebut that. You could tell me if I'm right. This was probably not written by a young woman. I think this was probably written by a young to middle-aged man.
Oh, man, do you want to put money on that bet?
Well, now you say that. I'm not sure, but...
Because I know the answer.
Oh, God.
And it was, in fact, not written by a man.
Oh, well, I'm glad I didn't take that bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really makes you think, huh? You sexist.
I guess so. I guess I'm sexist. I guess I'm wrong. There's nothing wrong with this comic.
Women are totally capable of having dog shit opinions about age gap romance.
They're allowed, okay? They're allowed to do it. They're allowed to say age gap is cool because, they're usually the victims, so...
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It's fine.
All right. Do you have any... I want to stop talking about this.
Yeah. Okay. I said the most inflammatory thing I'm going to say on the show this week. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
All right, people, let's just take a moment and clear our minds. Let's try not to let any of that awful manga and anime cloud our calm and our peace.
Okay, I've let it out. I've expelled the bad vibes. I'm letting in the good from the universe. All right.
It's in the past. It's all in the past. It can't hurt us.
All right.
Let's look to the future, I think. Because the future promises us a bounty of beautiful and wonderful things that are coming into our lives and have yet to be spoiled by the nefarious poison of reality, of the moment, the fantasy, right?
Right.
Looking forward into the fantasy of tomorrow, I just wanted to mention a couple of cool things. There is cool stuff happening in manga and anime. I just wanted to get that in because so far this episode has been pretty harsh.
It's been an emotionally taxing one.
It's been pretty intense.
And it's going to get a little weirder near the end.
It's not going to be great as we move forward. So I just want a momentary palate cleanser.
All right, give me a big old slice of melon.
So just a couple of things, just coming off the news. I believe we mentioned that Science Saru is working on a new Ghost in the Shell anime that's going to be in 2026.
It's going to literally end all anime. They're going to stop making anime after that.
It would be interesting.
Because they're going to be done. They're going to say, wow, okay, we can't do it better than that one, so we're done here.
It all started with Ghost in the Shell, and it'll end with Ghost in the Shell. Yeah. Don't correct me, people.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Another great announcement, Gachiakuta, which I've probably talked about at least a few times in this show. It's probably one of the best currently running manga going on right now. It rules and kicks ass. Extremely
well, you brought
hard.
it up as a possible contender, I think, in one episode for anime adaptation. So that's the news, right? It's getting an anime.
I called it yet again.
Yeah.
Studio Bones working on that in 2025.
Roll them bones,
I'm very
baby.
excited. Very excited.
Very excited.
Very excited. In manga news, of course, I just read that Kadokawa is doing some kind of like masterpiece theater series, and the first classic tale they're going to be turning into a manga is Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby, everybody's favorite high school read to turn into a mediocre book report.
I speak from experience.
Yeah, I personally like that story. I'm fascinated what a manga version of that would be. I think the cultural translation there is going to be very interesting.
I hope they go weird with it.
Yeah.
I hope that it's kind of like the Junji Ito adaptation of Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
That would be dope. Actually, Junji Ito's Great Gatsby would also be dope.
That would be so cool. My first thought was that, and this has been done before, obviously, but that this would be a like sci-fi version of Great Gatsby. Set in like a far distant Earth. I think that could work. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. Something about like Gatsby looking out from the spaceport and seeing the green planet in the distance.
Yes, I love that. I love that visual. Actually, I think that would be so fucking cool. It's actually like it's a docked spaceship, and that's like it's like safety lights blinking in the distance. The spaceship he'll never be able to return to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, we're already doing a better job.
I know. I would kill to be on that project.
All right. Here's some news that'll make you happy.
Yeah.
Don't Toy With Me, Nagatoro-san finally announced its abrupt ending in 3 chapters from now.
Oh, that guy's going to jail, huh?
Finally, they finally made the charges stick.
They had to do a racketeering charge.
Well, actually, what they nailed him on was for the January 6th involvement. The FBI finally tracked him down.
You can't take selfies when you're doing federal crimes, people. I keep telling you that. You cannot do that.
Well, it was the one squirrely-looking Japanese dude in the whole crowd. It was kind of a dead giveaway.
Here's one final one that I've just recently heard. And, speaking of all this pervert shit, Fushigi Yugi is getting a prequel manga coming out fairly soon.
Historical fantasy prequel. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
It's a weird one to bring back, right?
Well, I'm wondering, how do you do a prequel to that? Because that one's basically an isekai. Do you just have a story in the real world about the girl's life before she gets sucked into the book?
I would probably do it the other way around, where we get the
what's happening in the book before the girl shows up.
Yeah, what's happening in the book world.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with the gods and goddesses, right?
That's why you're in charge. That's why you're the ideas guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm writing all these manga and anime myself.
That's why they made you head B guy.
I don't know. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Fushigi Yugi. We've mentioned it a few times before, but I do prefer, I guess, that era of isekai. I guess. I don't know. I have complicated feelings.
That was the era where isekai was more of a subgenre of the shoujo family, right? Because they seem to be, for a long time, the format for isekai was like a young high school girl goes to a fantasy realm where she gets caught up with a plot and intrigue with all the hot young bais in the fantasy world.
The Inuyasha.
Yeah.
The Inuyashas of the world.
Inuyasha or the Escaflowne or like we were just talking about the Fushigi Yugi, all those.
Yeah, it's somehow it's warped in on itself. But we talked about isekai plenty on the last episode. The other thing from the last episode that we need to talk about,
oh boy, here it comes,
is of course it's time to present our book reports.
The chickens have come home to roost.
Nate, did you do your reading?
Oh, I did. I read what you told me to read.
Okay, good.
Oh boy. Okay, yeah, I sure read it. All right.
I did my reading as well. Now, I'm not sure. Should we start with mine? I think mine's a little bit lighter. Maybe that would be better to end with. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I want to rip the Band-Aid off. Let me go first.
Okay, you go first.
You had me because you're a strange and impersonable man. You had me read Happy Sugar Life. And let me tell you, I can think of a few things wrong with that title.
You think it's maybe a little misleading?
It might be a little bit of a bait and switch.
The author playing kind of a little bit of a fun prank on the audience, huh?
A little bit of a subversion of expectation.
Yeah,
if I could use those dirty words.
maybe some kind of sarcasm or irony, if you will.
See, I don't enjoy or appreciate that level of thinking in the media I consume. I want my age gap romance to be between two consenting teachers and students. And also preferably, I would like it if not one of them was a literal child. So I guess we're going to get into it. Happy Sugar Life.
Yeah, go ahead and give us the breakdown as you understand it.
Happy Sugar Life is about Sato, who was for lack of a better word, promiscuous student. Decidedly not a gyaru, though. See, you can be promiscuous without being a gyaru. Just got to throw that in there.
I guess so.
And she decides to give up her life of sluttery.
Jesus, you just said you weren't going to use that word. He just went straight to it.
Well, you see what I did? I subverted your expectations.
Oh, shit. He fucking got me. Like the manga.
Yeah. See?
Wow.
See what I did there? And she decides to give up that life when she becomes obsessed with a little girl that she kidnaps and keeps locked inside of an apartment of a man that she killed.
Yep. That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds like the manga I read. Yep.
Yep. And so the general breakdown of how this story plays out is as you would think it. It is the unfolding of her obsession with this little girl, kind of a slow reveal of how she came to be in possession of the little girl, how she came to live in her current circumstance, what her backstory is, and the various people that she interacts with and tries to keep her secret hidden from throughout her life, such as her boss at her job, or her teachers at her school, or her friends, or even possible love interests that have a crush on her. And just like coincidentally, it turns out that all of those characters I just listed are also all evil psychopaths that like want to hurt and murder each other and torture each other.
Yeah, you know how like in JoJo, stand users just kind of like attract each other?
Yeah. Crazy psychopaths obsessed with this little girl just kind of converge supernaturally on each other.
It is bizarre. That is an underexplored aspect of Happy Sugar Life.
That's what I thought that we were building towards. Okay. So, we go through all these different little mini stories of her trying to hide the girl from her teacher, or hide her friend from finding out where she lives.
Yeah.
Or hide her past from her coworkers because she doesn't want them to know why she's like so secretive or whatever.
Right.
And I thought with the occurrence of other characters that come in contact with Shio, who is the little girl that I keep talking about.
Right.
These are two characters so far. Sato is the crazy one, and Shio is the little girl. I thought Shio was going to end up being kind of like a Tomie situation where there is some kind of perverse supernatural force about her that makes people obsessed with her in this way, because it just keeps happening. But no, it turns out that Japan is just full of weird creeps like that, I guess.
Well, Japan, the manga Japan. Let's
Oh yeah, no, of course, that's what manga, I meant. Japan in the manga. Right? I'm not making any allegations towards the real, totally cool, I'm assuming, law-abiding, I'm assuming, people of Japan. That are totally cool and not into little girls, I'm assuming.
Sure, yeah, no, this is completely contained within a fantasy version of Japan.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
100%
absolutely.
Is what the author is positing to us, the reader.
Yes.
I agree with that. I agree that that's what the author is saying. And so I thought that it was going to be that, where the little girl is some kind of, I don't know, obsession demon. And I thought, okay, this is going to be edgelord, even more edgelord Tomie.
Yeah.
But no,
Wow, calling Tomie out.
it's not that.
Tomie catching strays.
Yeah. No, Tomie is the good one in this situation. It's one of the good ones.
I'm always saying that. Tomie is the good guy of that series.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so I was actually quite disappointed when it turns out that is not the case, and Sato is. Well, that's the other thing that kind of snowballs. We also get set up as Sato being kind of like this, for lack of a better descriptor. This is for all you alpha males out there. Sato, it comes off as almost Jason Bateman-esque. Wait, not Jason. Patrick Bateman-esque.
Jason Bateman.
Wait, no. I'm gonna commit. She comes off just like Jason Bateman.
Absolutely. You mean Jason Bateman in Ozark, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The incredibly popular drama series he was in. Yeah.
She's
an American Psycho.
Yeah, she's American Psychoing us, the audience. She kind of has this internal monologue where she's talking about how she doesn't experience emotion. She doesn't understand what love is, except when she's around this little girl. That's the only time that she feels that little tightness in her chest that reminds her she's still alive.
Sure.
And by God, she's not going to let anyone take that away from her.
Yep.
Whether it be her teachers or the girl's family or the police.
The police.
Yeah. And so I was getting into that. I'm like, okay, well, and I don't mean like I was getting into it, but I was like, all right, I can deal with this interpretation of the character. But I was very disappointed when they reveal that, like, oh, we're doing this whole thing is just a reflection of her own trauma. She was traumatized into being a psycho killer by another person.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Don't stop. That's not supposed to be. Keep going.
Yeah. Damn it. You threw me off. You threw off my rhythm.
You weren't supposed to hear that.
And so, I don't know. That trope has always been a little distasteful for me, you know? The mind break trope or whatever.
I would say this is maybe not a mind break trope as maybe anime and manga fans would understand it. I think this is a mind break trope in the sort of killer inside me style.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
American grindhouse literature style.
Exactly.
Mind break. Yeah.
This is the monster she's been made into.
Yes.
by her own trauma and abuse.
Right.
Well, which is sympathetic. I was enjoying having a manga protagonist that I did not have to sympathize with, and I could, like Death Note, just watch her be mean to other crazy people.
Hey, she's being mean.
Being a going American Psycho on these freaks.
Why is she bullying that pedophile?
Well, again, she's also she also has a weird obsession with the little girl, which is by far the worst part of the entire thing. Is I wish the little girl was. I wish the little girl wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can even conceive of a version of this story without the little girl, but
I don't think I can either,
and
that's why I'm saying the whole thing makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the core concept of it, of being obsessed with. It seems like the recurring theme, right, is that all of these freaks that are obsessed with this grade schooler.
Yep.
Which, I guess they're doing like a Lolita thing, right?
I suppose.
In the sense that they're all very broken people. And they all become obsessed with this little girl as a
It's the
marker
personification
of purity,
of
a personification
innocence.
of purity and innocence.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and they are like starving people in hell who are desperate to suck out the last bit of innocence.
Yeah,
from this totem of purity.
and the angel imagery is one that is recurring.
Yeah.
when when characters refer to Shio throughout the story.
Yes,
They say she's my angel, she's my purifier. She's the only thing good in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you make it far enough to where the story introduces the other main character?
Are you talking about who I'm assuming is Shio's brother?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He's been introduced for a while now. They just introduced the fact that Sato's creepy aunt is still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of like another, they kind of lead you into believing that Sato has killed her aunt and that's the apartment that she's been inhabiting this whole time.
Right. Yeah.
But we do a rug twist and it was actually somebody else.
A rug twist. Twist that rug right from underneath you.
Yep. Listen, I don't pull, I twist, all right?
Sure. Subversion, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I find his intrusion into the narrative to be really interesting. And I think without him, I don't think I would have had the stomach to continue reading that particular story.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having trouble stomaching it already, so.
Yeah, I bet.
So that is, I think I just finished the 4th volume, which is about 19 or 20 chapters in.
Sure.
So yeah, that's Happy Sugar Life. Flagrant false advertising.
Yeah. So do you recommend it?
You know what? I'm gonna have to recommend this one over the one about the teacher fucking a high school student.
See, this is why I chose it. Because you needed a different flavor of awful. You really needed something to change it up.
You have exposed me to worlds that I could not have foreseen and frankly resent you for.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, if you can't tell by now, the psychodrama tragedies are sort of my Achilles heel, just as the Gyaru rom-coms are yours.
Indeed. Now, speaking of, you also had a reading assignment.
I did.
Yeah, why don't you tell me a little bit more about that?
I did do my reading of More Than a Couple, Less Than Lovers.
Listen, let it be known, people, that we keep our word on this show. We do the reading.
I still don't really understand the name. I think I understand what they were going for, but I don't think it really matches up to what's on the page. You summarized it pretty well in the last episode, but I guess I'll just restate the premise.
Mm-hmm. For any new listeners out there.
Yeah. I think you actually overstated some elements of the premise.
I'm going to be honest. That is a flaw of mine. I tend to get wrapped up in over-explaining the plots of stuff. So that's on me.
Much like these chat GPT AIs, you kind of hallucinated a couple of extra details. This is a story about a young man who's in love with his childhood best friend, and through an extraordinarily grating and unnecessary misunderstanding, thinks he has been rejected by her. Through a bizarre sequence of events, comes to share an apartment with his class's premier Gyaru girl. As we've talked about, his and the manga's definition of Gyaru girl is still puzzling to me. Like I mentioned before, because we are experiencing her through the mediating agent of this fucking piece of shit.
Right.
I believe the story essentially just means slut. I think that's what they mean by Gyaru, which is very unfortunate.
That's what you've settled on?
For this particular story, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, all right, go on.
They've come to live together because of a strange. I can't say it's a tradition because it is enforced by the academic institution of which they both participate in a sort of fake marriage class. Though it is extracurricular in some way. That is also part of their cumulative grade, so they don't have the option to opt out.
Cool. Very cool.
Very cool, and it gets cooler. There are hidden cameras throughout the apartment and a scoreboard constantly monitoring the level of fake coupling that they've achieved.
It's like some year in the 1980s over here.
Yeah, so I want to just start off now. If this is your first episode, I just want to lay out this is how I approach manga, and I don't want you to feel like I'm using these terms flippantly, but this is a manga about performative heteronormativity. And I could not be more literal when I say that.
No, it's the exact premise of the program at the school.
It is the class could basically be called performative heteronormativity. They are being watched by cameras at all times and are expected to perform domestic cohabitation.
Now, why? For what purpose, Remy?
Why? What purpose? Now, you posited that the purpose was to accelerate procreation in a town that is no longer experiencing population growth. That's what you told me.
Isn't that what they say at the beginning, at the little
preamble? They do not
preamble?
say that. They do not say that. That does not come up. They just say that this is a thing that happens at their local high school.
Okay, all right. Maybe I backfilled in that information.
Yeah, you hallucinated it. You tried to create a better justification for the premise of this manga than they did.
You know, the cognitive dissonance of the premise just my brain like needed to fill in the gaps unconsciously. I couldn't let it, like a vacuum in space, I couldn't let it abide.
Yes. Now, before I get into kind of more about my thoughts, I just want to go over my notes really quick. I'll go really quick. These are just literally just notes, a stream of consciousness as I was reading.
Okay, all right.
I'll just go through these very quickly. Fetishization of domesticity. Mm-hmm. Oedipal complex. Can't stop calling her a slut and a bitch.
Yep.
Adolescent fear of women, both as the other and the disciplinarian.
Uh-huh.
Want to be babied. Over focus on virginity. Inability to perceive others' feelings.
Yep.
Akari just says he wants a mommy. Never-ending shower scenes of Akari while she has feelings, but never the boy conflictedly washing his balls. This is from 2018, but the pervert, misogynistic, loser best friend feels very dated and anachronistic. It's not obliviousness, it's insensitivity. He just straight up says her value as a person is that she is hot, and when she tries to verify that, it's really sad and awful that the manga thinks that is a good thing. He slut-shames her in his apology. Mm-hmm. This is the heteronormative final boss with 4 life bars. What does love even mean in manga? Quote unquote, she doesn't see me as a man. And now that is obviously not specific to this manga. It's just a term I fucking hate.
Yes, the see me as a man / woman refrain that pops up in a lot of these.
Yes. The old trope of, hey, don't dress like that. It's your fault you're making me horny.
Gotta love the classics. Playing the hits.
This would work better as a death game, which I will get into. That particular one I will come back around to.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah.
Okay, hear me out. What if a fuck baby was also a fuck mommy? I'm seeing dollar signs. Young girls falling for the quote-unquote tomboy prince is very Freudian in the idea of the Freudian aspect of the lesbian attraction as a juvenile form of sexual exploration before normative heterosexuality. Do girls actually self-identify as Gyaru? Otherwise, it seems really rude. And finally, this is just a stepsister rom-com with the incest part taken out.
Well, that was probably the starting point for sure.
Yeah, right? And that part, this takes us back to the death game aspect. In a death game, this is essentially the way this manga works is characters are forced into enclosed spaces together in extraordinary circumstances and trauma bond, and that trauma bond creates romance. That is incredibly boilerplate for a death game. In this one, they attempt to recreate that, splitting the difference between a death game and a stepsister rom-com by just creating an incredibly implausible scenario that has no actual stakes outside of them getting a failing grade in a class neither one wants to be in.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, that really sums it up. And the main tension of the story is, of course, that he's into his childhood friend, but he gets assigned the Gyaru girl who he thinks hates him because he's a creepy, perverted, sad sack loner.
Right.
And he only has one friend, and that friend is extraordinarily disgusting.
He's even pervier than him.
Yes. Well, I will say, in our defense of the protagonist, he's not super pervy. He just never tells his friend to fuck off when he's being extraordinarily misogynistic. And by allowing it, we do tend to think he's, tacitly approving of it.
Well, silence is violence, as they say.
Silence is violence. I think a lot of those thoughts I kind of got out there. I do think, like I said, this is the final boss of performative heteronormativity. This is the fetishization of domesticity. The only way this could get more on the nose would be like if he came home and he lit up a pipe and read the newspaper while she cooked him up a lamb chop dinner with mashed potatoes. I mean, that really
Screw the newspaper. He's probably going to be reading an issue of Playboy.
Yeah, that's where we're at with this. Mm-hmm, and the original tension at the beginning is that, of course, the Gyaru, who he continually calls a slut and a bitch over and over again. Thanks, dude. That's really great. He assumes she cannot be domestic because she is, well, a Gyaru.
Yeah. Again, a bit of that determinism coming into play, right?
Exactly. Yes. And he laments because his childhood best friend is maternalistic and domestic in exactly the way that these kind of guys fetishize the fuck mommy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he is obviously distraught that she's been paired up with, unfortunately, the class idol. He's really freaking out over this because he's like, and this is kind of a weird point because he and his friend, to a lesser extent, are constantly talking about how hot and awesome this dude is. Like, they bring it up all the time. They're calling him an idol. They're calling him a god. They're constantly talking about how he is the, epitome of male attraction. Just a weird wrinkle,
Well,
just a weird wrinkle to it.
Sometimes the lady doth protest too much, if you know what I mean.
I know. We don't want to fall in the trap of oh, hey, people are constantly trying to hide their homosexuality or their bi-curiosity there because behind a thin veil of misogyny or homophobia or whatever.
Sure.
It's just it raises questions, right? It just raises strange questions. And of course, as these things play out, the Gyaru is madly in love with the idol boy and assumes that she's going to be together with him because she's the Gyaru and he's the idol boy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now,
yes, please.
Now is when you say the idol boy, does that imply a certain purity to him, or is he kind of like a punk rock dude?
No, he is an upstanding young gentleman,
Okay.
He's got the blonde hair somehow. It's a black and white manga, but you just know he has blonde hair.
Sure.
He's tall, he's handsome, he doesn't have any tattoos or piercings. He's polite, he's personable. He's got a bunch of friends. He's probably good at sports. It's this kind of kid.
Uh-huh.
The all-American, as we would say.
The quarterback, I believe,
Yes.
is the shorthand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And as modern manga readers, we would probably assume that there is some kind of dark side to him. But as I continue to read, it seems like what the implication is. And this is also an interesting wrinkle because the story, until volume 3, the story plays this incredibly straight. The best friend can't admit that she likes the protagonist.
Of course.
Akari, the Gyaru girl, slowly develops feelings for the protagonist. The protagonist slowly develops feelings for Akari, but can't believe that a Gyaru girl would ever be into him because he's just a dumb virgin, right? All this stuff. It takes until volume 3 where we start nibbling at the edges. And this is the part that suddenly we begin challenging the performative heteronormativity, because at this point, like I said, the concept is nothing but set dressing. We never get to really explore the other students' domestic experiments, which is a big missed opportunity, until we meet a girl who is introduced, as I mentioned in my notes, the prince. Now, class, are we all familiar with the prince trope in manga?
Oh, I think that I'm well familiar, but why don't you give a quick breakdown?
Nate knows all about this. The prince in manga is generally a tall and handsome, tomboyish girl. She has short hair, she's dashing, and all the younger girls in the school fall in love with her. We have one of those. And it turns out that she is in love with the protagonist's childhood best friend. And obviously is incredibly afraid of outing herself as gay, so she can't do anything about it.
Okay, so now that sounds you got way farther in this manga than I ever did. And,
well, I was doing
now
the work.
You're making it sound kind of interesting with this twist.
That's a mistake on my part, because this is again,
Okay,
this is just
all right.
This is sidelined very hard. We don't, as you know, I didn't finish it or whatever, but it seems we don't really get to explore this. And also, the way her story plays out is her sexual and romantic frustration just makes her push the girl further into getting with the guy. That's how she's coping with this.
Great. That exact same thing happens in Whisper Me a Love Song. Kind of weird that that's a trope that pops up.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said before, I feel like the twist coming with the idol boy is that maybe he's gay as well? Possibly?
I mean, that would be very fun if everybody in this manga ended up gay by the end. That would be very funny.
That would be really great.
Yeah.
I would be way more into it. But that's the whole thing I'd say. I know, again, if you're a new listener, perhaps you're not familiar with our grotesque knee-jerk reaction to all manga we don't like to immediately begin backseat directing. But the entire time I was reading this, I kept going, there is a missed opportunity here, missed opportunity here, missed opportunity here to like deconstruct the conservative expectations of the performative domesticity, performative heteronormativity of this kind of setup. That would be really interesting, right?
Right.
If we had main characters kind of mashing together and the expectation of their teachers and their school and their society was to perform heteronormativity, but the undercurrent there being that they can't. They emotionally, literally cannot do that because they are not heteronormative. That is a really interesting story. That story is consistently sidelined by the most boilerplate, bullshit, boring love triangle you could possibly imagine between people who never get fleshed out and are essentially used as placeholders for actual people.
So what you're saying is that this is your recommendation for Pride Month?
Well, welcome to Pride Month. This is my rage as a cis straight white guy. But nevertheless, this is
cover.
my rage at, like I said at the top, the performative heteronormativity presented as if that is the societal ideal. Right?
See, okay, if it was a death game, just the entire metaphor of perform being straight good enough or we're going to kill you, that's already like a fun premise to
Isn't
start
that
with.
a million times more interesting? Wouldn't that be so cool and interesting? And then that would perform that would undergird this story with an actual interesting thing to say.
But instead, we didn't get that.
Yeah, we don't get that. We don't get any of that shit. Instead, we get two girls falling in love with the blandest person you've ever met. And him constantly being like, girls can't be into me because I'm a virgin. And virgins aren't worthy of love and respect. in our society, which is, again, another kind of bizarre societal expectation that goes completely unexamined. And of course, plenty of, wow, these two teenagers live together, so the girl is constantly in her underwear. Cool.
Great.
Cool.
Love it.
Fucking great.
Sounds like something I can really sink my teeth into.
Yeah. You're going to rush out the door to like get back into this one, right?
Oh yeah, I'm downloading chapters as we speak.
Yep. So I think it's safe to say I hated this manga. I hated it.
Okay. So
Wow.
You hated the stupid Gyaru romance manga more than I hated the little girl obsession murder manga.
I think so. And I just really, again, this is, I'm a male feminist. I'm a good one. I'm one of the good ones. I'm an ally. And so I was really constantly really offended by how they treated Akari, the Gyaru girl. Every single character makes these horrible assumptions about her based literally on like the kind of nails she wears to class, based on the way she wears her hair ties. They inject her with all of this bullshit expectations and assumptions about her as a person, based like on the flimsiest pretext, because she likes to express herself in a particular way, and she likes to talk in a particular way, and she likes to go to karaoke with boys.
Well, I mean, I think you've just hit on the root of pretty much all Gyaru manga. That is the emotional through line that I've seen in all of them.
This is why Super Baby, something we talked about a long time ago, is the best Gyaru manga. From the perspective of an adult woman, she is the POV character. She consistently expresses why she is a Gyaru and a self-identified Gyaru, what makes up her Gyaru-dom, her Gyaru personhood, how she likes to express that, her frustration with the world that puts expectations on her because of a simple thing like the way she likes to dress and act, and the way she finds one person like in the entire world who like accepts her as she is and doesn't put that shit on her. That is a beautiful rom-com manga. That is great. That is the ideal for me in any kind of Gyaru manga. This does not hold a candle to Super Baby. Read Super Baby. I implore you.
Okay, I'm at the end of my rope with this stuff.
Yeah, I'm sweating my ass off, and not just because I just fucking yelled about this stupid ass fucking rom-com.
He's in a hot little box yelling into a mic like a regular, well-adjusted person.
Yeah, I'm doing a real Alex Jones over here, sweating through my shirt. My face is beet red.
Okay.
yelling about heteronormative conspiracy theories in my manga, in my comic books for teenagers.
They're turning the goddamn Gyaru's gay. Okay, handsome and beautiful and tall listeners, thank you once again.
Gyaru listeners.
Yeah, and all the Gyaru listeners.
Hey, shout out to the Gyaru listeners. Like, I'm on your side, guys. Seriously, like, let's fucking defeat this bullshit together.
Yeah.
By listening to our podcast and subscribing to our various podcast feeds on social media. That's how we defeat sexism. That's how we defeat racism. That's how we defeat homophobia.
Well, let's not say racism because there's the whole blackface thing.
Oh yeah, well of course I couldn't fit that in. Actually, there is none of that in this Gyaru interpretation. So kind of weird.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, go comment on the TikToks, on the various download sites. Please download. Please give us ratings.
Yes, follow on the Blue Sky, please. I need clout. I am addicted to clout. I'm begging you for clout.
We're empty inside, and we need the light of your purity, our fans, to cleanse us.
Please validate my existence, or at the very least, the amount of time I spend on this bullshit.
Okay, all right, that's it for this week. Bye.
Yeah. Fate/Grand Order - Epic of Remnant - Pseudo Singularity 3 : The Stage of Carnage, comma Shimosa - 7 Duels of Swordmasters.